yeah, I want to make Fnatic the champions again.
Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and I'm sitting here with Joey from Fnatic now. Yeah. How does it feel to finally get that 2-0?
It feels really good. Like, we've been chasing that 2-0 like every single week, and then we just like, you lose a game against H2K you shouldn't lose, and then you lose a game against, I don't even remember who that we shouldn't lose. Then we had a tough schedule with Misfits, but we also like a free game we could have won, and then we looked at the schedule and saw Giants and Unicorns for this week, so we were like, okay, well, it didn't work the last 3 weeks, this is the one, you know.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Now, does it feel especially good taking that second place from Giants?
It does, because we still want to get top 2 at least for the regular split, so that we get a bye in the playoffs, of course. And we want to stay close to Vitality, because we have our eyes set on them.
Are you very surprised by how insane Vitality is right now, how far they are ahead?
I am, and that's mostly because in scrims they are not looking very strong, but then when they play on stage, they actually play very well coordinated and calculated. So when we scrimmed them, and it was pretty one-sided, honestly. And then I actually looked at the LCS stage games. I was like, wow, these guys actually move around the map very well, like a very different to on the stage. But that's where it matters eventually, right? So as long as they keep playing that well on stage, there's no problem for them.
I got to talk to Jack Troll yesterday, and he told me that he performs a lot better on stage because he feels like he's under pressure, and that's what boosts him and the rest of the team as well. So maybe that's the secret to the team right now.
Yeah, I think it's just in scrims there's a lot of no breaks. You know, everyone is taking a little bit more risk than on stage, so that's where mistakes happen a lot, especially with rookies.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, you personally went from being a coach at G2 for 2 years to being a manager at Fnatic. Why did you make that decision, and what has been some of the upsides and downsides, like weird things happening?
So I'm actually a team director, but you can call it a team manager. Okay. In football terms, that would be the correct call. I really wanted to work with a team that I could see a lot of growth in, and also that I could actually have authority over and move in the direction I wanted to do it, all in my way. And I found that in Fnatic. I found a really good talented team, and I knew from playing against them, like they were very creative, but their macro could work, could improve a lot. So I was like, okay, this is a great project. I get all the authority that I want to do whatever I want with this team, and I have the knowledge built up from the G2 years. So yeah, I want to make Fnatic the champions again.
And right now you're in a good position to do exactly that, of course. Maybe you will manage to finally get or be the team that stops G2 from continuously winning all those splits. That would be a pretty interesting story to hear.
Yeah, I'm personally hoping for the G2 Fnatic finals, of course. Like, who's going to get that 5th title? Is it Perkz or is it Youngbuck? It would be a good story.
Absolutely. Now, from your personal experience, what has been a major difference from being a coach to being a team director?
Well, considering that I do a lot of coaching still daily, there's not that big of a difference. Of course, I'm also doing more manager things, even though we also have a full-time manager, but things related to the organizations are also left up to me. But I feel like I'm still doing most of the coaching together with Dylan, of course. So it's not the biggest difference, just different. So, for example, in G2, they didn't want to have a full-time manager per se. So I was also doing like more of the tedious things, like keeping the house a little bit clean, doing the groceries, cooking, right? That's things I don't want to do as a coach, right? That's not what I'm in esports for. So in Fnatic, I don't have to do that. And that's pretty much the big difference, that I can actually focus all my time on coaching right now.
It must be relieving as well to not having to do those cores anymore.
Of course, and especially being able to have like 2-3 hours a day extra to either talk to players or watch LCK instead of having to go and wake up and do groceries, right?
So what has been major differences between the G2, the former G2, of course, and the Fnatic you now experience in terms of players and characters and the team morale, maybe?
That's a good question. It's a very tough one. I see a lot of similarities, of course, like the top laner is similar to my mid laner in personality, so there's always you always get the same kind of personalities in a team. But I really can't see that much of a difference. I see very talented individuals in every single role. I see a lust for improvement and for playing good macro. I think outside the game we also get along very well, just like in G2. Everyone is laughing, happy and smiling, so yeah, I don't see that big of a difference.
Okay, that's very interesting, of course. Now, in terms of working with these players specifically, Reckless has been around for a very long time, whereas Caps and Broxah have been relatively new to the scene, even though they did, of course, go to Worlds, did put in quite a performance. Do you see any major differences there?
Well, if you compare the role per role, then yeah, you will see some differences. Especially, we had a rookie in the top lane, right? And here we have the rookies in the mid lane and in the jungle, even though we can't really call them rookies anymore right now. But and here we have the old dog in the top lane and AD carry, and in the G2 that was the bot lane. So it's still very similar, it's just like shifted. Like for example, I feel like Expect personality is a lot more like Cap's personality, and then Perkz personality is maybe a little bit more like Reckless or yeah. So it's just similar personalities, just in different roles. It's really fun to work with.
So is it true, you always have these stereotypes of like, this is what an ADC is like, you know, a bit more arrogant and selfish maybe, but also try-harding for the team. Have you found that these stereotypes exist, actually?
I mean, I think there are a lot of stereotypes, yeah, and they are true for a lot of people. So the short answer, yes. Like, yeah.
And you've had a pretty long career as a player yourself, so you've probably had some experiences there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for example, Caps is like the joker of the team, always laughing, and that was something that Expect was doing for us. And also Perkz was doing that a lot. He was laughing and lighting up the entire room, right? And Martin is also good at doing that. So it's just similar, like I said, similar personalities, different roles. It's stereotypes everywhere, and just in a different lane.
Now, Fnatic looks fantastic. G2 has been struggling quite a bit, and in general, the former top teams of Europe have been struggling compared to what was expected of them. You know, when doing previews of the split, people expected Fnatic to go like 17-1 and expected Misfits to do really well, and G2 as well, of course. But all of a sudden, Giant step up, Vitality is on the top of the league. Why do you think that is?
So first of all, best of one is of course not the great measurement to see how good a team is, at least in the short run. And we've only had 8 games, and some teams have only had 7. They're still playing. So it's really hard to see how good a team actually is. And then on top of that, it's also not really a meta where I think you can showcase very well how good a team is, because almost every team has a lot of wave clear. It's very difficult to finish games. And then you get to 40, 50 minutes and you just roll the dice and hope it lands. That's really how it is.
It's a bit extreme, but it's true at the end of the day. You know, we've seen so many of these very long, interesting games coming down to one player, one little mistake, AD carry getting caught out or something like that. Yeah. I mean, the Fnatic versus Misfit series.
Yeah, that was not fun, right? And then Misfits against Splice the next day, also a 10k gold lead, and just can't close out because of all the wave clear, and Baron wasn't strong enough, Elder Drake doesn't do it. And then, at some point, someone has got to die, right? And that's it.
In terms of individual performance, a lot of people have talked about Hansama right now being the best ADC in Europe. You probably have a different opinion about that, with Reckless really stepping up again.
Yeah, I think Reckless is the best carry in Europe, the AD carry at least. Yeah.
Now, and one thing about Reckless as well, because we've seen Reckless kind of transition from the start when he started playing to last year when he all of a sudden had to step up as a leader, become more serious, more grown up in a way. And today, before the game started, we saw him having a laugh with Caps and everyone was smiling, and Broxah as well. It felt really positive compared to previous iterations of Fnatic. Is that an important factor in these games sometimes?
Yeah, I can tell that if the mood in the team is very good, then we perform way better in scrims and on stage. And if the mood is down, then scrims and stage games are pretty difficult. But I think we found out like how we can actually feed into the positive sides, and I think the biggest thing is that we've brought in a board game that we now play before LCS together.
Okay.
And so we go to the studio, sit backstage, right, and during the games that we have to wait for, we actually play board games together and just laugh and have some fun. Yeah.
That does sound like a really good strategy, and it's been working out for you guys. Now, one last question. I talked to Hilly-Sang, and Hilly-Sang is known for being an insane arm wrestler, and he told me that he even beat you. On a scale of like 1 to 10, how ridiculous is Hilly-Sang at arm wrestling?
A 10. I stood no chance. But apparently there's a lot of technique to it. Yeah. And he doesn't like Google techniques or YouTube it, but it's inherently there. But I didn't last more than 2 seconds, I think. It was over very fast.
Broxah the same, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah, it was like less than a second probably. So.
Yeah, it takes a second with everyone, even Romain. So
Right. Yeah, I heard about that as well. He told me that Romain, he would win against Romain, but then when they would do it like 10 times, after the 10th time, Romain would win because he had like more endurance and stuff. But other than that, unbeatable. Well, is there anything you would like to say to the plenty of Fnatic fans out there?
Thank you for the support, guys. I really love reading Reddit and seeing all the positivity after we win, and also seeing very cheerful messages towards the player on Twitter and Reddit, even when we lose. So keep that up. It really helps us and feeds into our positive mindset. So thank you very much for that.
Positive mindset. It definitely is. Yeah. This was Joey and Darius from the Shotcaller. Hope you had a good day. See you then. Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you just enjoyed that interview. This is a generic end card, so make sure to click here for another interview or here for a different interview. And if you want to check out more content, specifically from the NALCS, make sure to visit theshotcaller.net for more interviews and other esports content. Have a good day.